Hi guys, happy Monday. I hope everyone had a fantastic weekend and a wonderful Mother's Day. I hope the weather held out for all of you beautiful ladies. So today we're gonna go over that geometric mandala that I was talking to you beautiful creatives about 2 weeks ago. And also, we are going to incorporate our moon phase pack. Now, if I am correct, we are currently out of the moon phase pack. But if you send an email at sales at ImpressArt.com, they should be able to give you when that pack is coming back in. We are still sheltering in place in New York, so I'm coming to you from my home studio. So this is a very advanced project, okay? But I'm gonna simplify this today for you guys. I don't know if you could see all of that, okay? But we're gonna go through the mandala, the geometric mandala, how to use the line and the curve, how to add in some of the moon phases in that design. I'm also gonna be bringing in that mandala pack number 4, which is our Southwest, or is that the 3, mandala pack 3, which is a Southwest mandala. We all know how I love dots, very fond of dots. So we're gonna use those dots from that mandala pack. And I'm going to show you with the GS Hypo how you can connect your blanks, okay? In a super simple, easy way if you're not able to solder at home or you are a beginner. So guys, keep on sending us your Stamp It Forwards. Definitely send in your Stamp It Forwards. I told you guys that I have a 10-year-old. She did her Stamp It Forward yesterday, and she opened it up to all the elementary school kids that she goes to school with. And she stamped 144 bracelets, and she handed out all 144 bracelets in exchange for a non-perishable food item for our local food pantry. So Stamp It Forward in your community. If there's someone that you just want to reach out to, it could be your mom, your grandmother, an aunt, an uncle, a cousin, a friend, that person that, your coworker, if you're from home, and, you just want to let them know that you appreciate them. That's basically what it is. You're showing random acts of kindness. Show people that you appreciate them and they appreciate you back. It's fantastic. We've been stamping it forward here. Definitely hashtag us at ImpressArt.com. ImpressArt, you could hashtag us at Stamp It Forward. Stamp It Forward is where you want to hashtag that, and hashtag Impress Us. All right, so without further ado, it's Mandala Mondays, guys, and we're gonna start. I got a new tripod. It's Monday. Hopefully everything works, and we'll be ready to go. Okay, so we are gonna start. I am pulling out a 1.25 inch blank, okay, which is fairly big, and it is alchemy. So this is what I'm gonna be stamping with today. I'm going to use a scratch protector, so it protects the back of my blanks. I'm going to put that right on my block. All right, I'm gonna put my stamp on there. And I am going to, with this mandala pack, it's different from the other mandala packs that we have. One, because it is signature. Okay, which means that it's rated for stainless, and you see that the impressions are a little deeper. The tops of your stamps are deeper, okay, than your regular. Put these down here, and you're gonna see that in your packaging comes a little inspiration book. So I've taken the time to give you some different patterns that you can do using this stamp set. All right, so I'm just gonna put that away. And what I was talking about before is you could see that they're detailed. and they're much deeper and they're much sharper. All right, so I'm going to pull these out. And with these packs, there are they contain 5 stamps as opposed to 4 that usually come in our pack. So I'm just going to make sure that I lay my stamps down with the impressions facing up, if you could see that, so it's very easy for me to see. Let me bring that back. Perfect. All right, so I am going to take my tape and I'm going to tape that down. And I'm using an alchemy blank. It's a tin-based alloy, very similar to pewter, okay? And I'm just gonna put that right at the top, just to secure my blank to my block, all right? And what I'm gonna do first is I'm gonna come in and I'm just gonna pick a centerpiece. Now, I showed you how to do the mandalas using the clear grids, just like that. With this geometric mandala, it's a little different. It doesn't have to be a circular pattern that we're going into. We're going to do basically a statement piece. So I'm not going to use those guides. I'm going to take my 9.5 stamp. I'm going to place it right in the center. I'm going to come in with my Argo angle hammer. I'm going to give it 1 hit. I'm going to rock it back, forward, side, side. And you could see that it leaves a really nice, clean impression in that metal. I'm going to bring it back down. Now, when your blank cups like that, just like that, I'm going to show you how you can get it to flatten out. So you're going to use a nylon head hammer, and that is our multifunction hammer kit. It's the nylon head. And when you get it, you know what, you're forging metal, so you're putting pressure on this in the center, so it kind of leaves a bowling cup effect. You're just going to take it, make sure your scratch protector pad is on your block, flip it over, and literally lightly tap that center. And you're not going to get any marring on your disc because that scratch protector is going to protect that. Okay, so I think I am going to start this way. So now I have my center mark as to where I want my middle of my pattern to start. And I'm really just going to line up. And now remember, guys, always turn your block. You don't have to turn your stamp, okay? You can if you'd like to turn your stamp, but it's always easier to turn your block, so at least you know what direction you're stamping in, okay? So I'm going to really, I want it just like that, okay? So I'm going to take it, give it a little bit of rock back and forth. And you see, I'm not really hitting it hard. I'm not hitting it aggressively. I'm tilting and tapping just to get all of that detail in there. Okay. Now I'm going to come back in with a sticker from my sticker guides book. And I am going to utilize my 3/4 sticker, okay? And what that's gonna do is that's gonna allow me to get, my sprays. I have 2 spray stamps. I have a left and a right, and I call them sprays because they look like little sprays of water or... So these 2 are my favorite. And I use these a lot in different designs. Sometimes I just utilize the top of them and I go around a disc. Okay, so there's a left and a right to these. So I'm going to put those right in front of me. All right, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to utilize the curvature of that sticker and I'm going to follow it. So I'm going to start... I'm going to mark my sticker. I'm going to start one here, one here, one here, and one here, guys. So I'm going to take my stamp. Okay, I'm going to twist my block. And I'm going to come right where that hash mark is that I wanted to use. And you see the bottom of that stamp? Let's see. See how that's curved? That curved piece right here? I want that to sit right up against that sticker. So I'm going to bring this down and make sure that that curve hits that sticker. Then I'm going to place it down and rock it back and forth. And there's my first spray, okay? And then I'm going to continue with my next. I'm gonna make sure that I feel that impression rubbing up against that sticker. And then I'm gonna come in on my right side. So this is a different way to use this sticker. The sticker on the instructions is used for wording around a disc. This sticker you could also use to go around with design stamps. Okay, so this is a good one for this geometric mandala pattern. So I'm going to pull that away. Okay, so I have my spacings nice and even and straight. Then I'm going to come back around my ends. And I think I want to do, let's see, I'm going to turn it around. Actually, let's see. I'm going to flip it over because it's starting to cup a little bit. So I'm just going to give it a couple of taps. Turn it back around. I'm actually going to take my liner stamp and I'm going to take that mandala pack, that Southwest pack. Okay, and I'm going to actually use that because I'm going to make it look like part of an arrow in my design. So I am going to, let's see, I'm going to come up, keep my blank down at the bottom now. And you could definitely use another stamp guide for this out of that stamp guides pack. I'm going to use the smaller sticker on there. And I'm going to take my sticker, find my center here, just follow it up. And you can take your liner stamp, okay? And I'm gonna show you from the side so you could see it better. I'm gonna take my liner stamp and I'm gonna line that up. And I'm just gonna give it a couple of nice hits. So when I'm using my liner stamps, I'm tapping down the stamp, I'm tapping up the stamp, and I'm putting pressure on it at the same time. Okay, and that's gonna leave me a little line. And you could see if it's, you know, too faint for you, and you could come back in. Gonna give it a little bit of a thicker line, pull that back. Then I'm gonna come in on my end and I'm gonna give it a little bit of an arrow look to it. All right, so there's that right there. And then I'm gonna come in with my dots from that mandala pack too. I am going to bring some of these dots, just as little sprays. Then I'm going to pull my sticker back. Now I'm going to come in on the bottom with, let's see, with the diamond pattern here. I'm going to come right here on the bottom. Just like that. And then I'm going to want to turn my pattern around. Utilize my sticker again. Guys, if you pull these off, you could definitely use them again, okay? While you're working on a piece. And I'm just lining up my orange line on that sticker with that peak of the last stamp that I used, okay? And I'm gonna come back in with my left and right spray, and I'm gonna go right next to that little diamond pattern. And there we go, there we have it. All right. Now, when I talked about going around, guys, you don't always have to use your stamps for full impressions. Okay, so we're going to do something a little bit fancy. You see here the bottom of that diamond? I'm going to utilize the top of that diamond. Okay. The moon, let's see. I've been practicing with my Geometric Mandala pattern and noticed the moon opening is not stamped straight. It is not supposed to be straight. Me and our creative director, Allison, I don't know if she's watching. So it's not supposed to be. It's supposed to be on a curve, on an angle. So basically when you're stamping it, it's supposed to be a little up more, a little askew. It's not supposed to be like a regular crescent moon. Okay, I marked my moon stamp with a Sharpie so I know how to turn it. Yes. So Jennifer, even if you turn it, because I'm just as OCD, so I'm going to show you right now. Even if you guys turn it to make it, to have it go straight up and down, one side of your stamp of that crescent is longer. So do you see how these patterns aren't exactly perfectly lined up? So just for me to soothe your OCD, they're really supposed to be skewed. They're not supposed to be even on both sides. One side of your stamp is longer. All right. Okay. So let's start. Let's go back to using it as a border. So I'm going to take the top half of my stamp and I am going to use it and not overhit it, very lightly am I tapping it to get a really nice thin impression around my mandala. Now, to practice doing this, I suggest using a bracelet blank, and I'm very lightly tapping it, not as much as I tapped the rest of my mandala patterns, because I want my lines very crisp and clean around my center, and I'm literally just using the top part of my stamp. This just gives it, when we dome it, it gives it a little something extra. Very lightly. Christine, this one comes out of the mandala pack. All right, so I'm not gonna go all the way up with that. I'm just gonna utilize it right up to where that arrow ends, that line and that arrow end starts. So you see, it just gives it something a little different. Okay, so then I'm gonna come in with my dapping block. And where is my punch? I have my dapping block here. Let's find the punch. Here it is. Oh no, Jennifer, I'm not validating you. I'm just as crazy. But I wanted to do something a little bit different. So when me and the creative director were designing this pack, we decided to just take a little bit of creative license and make that part of the moon a little different, of that crescent, okay? It just looked much nicer. So I am going to dome this. I want to make sure that this is on the outside of my pendant. So I'm going to turn this upside down, okay? Then I'm going to come back in with my punch. And I'm going to use my, let's look how great this new tripod is. I'm very happy today. And you're just going to give it a couple of nice taps. Feel free to pull it out. Take a look at it, see how you like it. Make sure you look at it from all centers, because sometimes when we just look at it from one side, we're a little lopsided. So definitely I would take it, take a look at it, personal preference, like I said before. Put that back in. I'm just gonna hit it a couple of more times. And bring that out. And here we have the beginning to our pendant. I think I like it better this way. So I'm gonna mark my center. Actually, you know what? Until we create the bottom, I'm not gonna mark my center. So we'll play around with it. So I'm just gonna put it aside because I don't know if I want my hole at the top. I think we'll decide all together. Or my hole at the bottom, I'm not sure. So then I'm gonna come in with my crescent moon. Okay, and I know that it only has one hole in it. So what I'm going to do first before I start stamping is I'm going to mark my second hole, because we are going to hang some crystals off of that. All right, or beads maybe. I'm going to come in with my hole punch, my screw hole punch. I'm going to place it in my screw hole punch, and I'm just going to tighten that. And you could see that the screw itself is very sharp, so it goes right through that blank very easily. And here we have it. We have both our holes. So now I'm going to come back in with my moon phase pack right here. Love, love, love this pack. Okay, so I'm just going to take these out so we can use them. Okay, and I am going to utilize my 3/8 sticker like I did in the top of that mandala, and I'm just going to line it up right in the center. I'm going to tape that down right here at the bottom. And I'm going to start with my moon phases. So you have, one in the center, okay? Then your half. There we go. Just like that. So you want to start from the center and move out with these moon phases. So I'm going to pull these 3 off and just have them on the side facing up so I know which one goes next. Okay. No, not all of, Gina, not all of the mandala packs are in the signature series, no. I think I want to move this down a little bit. A little bit more. There we go. Okay, so I'm going to start with my full moon. Now you could see, guys, there's a lot of, let me see if I could get that there. It's not an outline, okay? It's a very full stamp. So you definitely want to bring it down, line that up, and I want you to give it one nice hit, and then just circle it around like we did with the crystal rivet. because I want you to get a really nice indent here. Now that is going to cause your blank to cup a little bit, which is fine because we're going to take care of that with the multifunction hammer once we're done. And now we're going to move on to the second moon phase. So I am going to actually mark where I want my other phases. Here. So I'm going to come in and I am going to so we're going to come in now and I'm going to follow that front, back, side, side, and then I'm going to finish it off. Mark just to follow my guides. Okay, so there's one. I'm going to take it off the block, flip it over, because it does cup a little bit. Guys, remember we're working with a very soft metal. And I'm just going to tap it down. And we have it right back nice and flat. I'm going to put it black on my block. Put my sticker. So guys, it's important to know that with the opposite side of your moon phases, now you are going to make sure that we have to flip it around, right? So you might want to mark, this is your front, but this was for your right side. Your left side is going to be the reverse side of your stamp. So what you might want to do is you might want to take a little Sharpie marker and just put a dot on the opposite side so you know you're stamping in the right direction. Okay, so I'm taking it, I'm going to line that up. There's my half. So guys, if you tune in late, you could always watch the replay. You could also, let's see. You could also watch this on YouTube in its entirety. So they always live, they live on YouTube as well. I'm just going to make sure that I have the right one. Okay, perfect. The right one. See? It's easy to get confused. So I'm going to, again, left, right, side to side, so it leaves a really nice impression. And then I'm going to mark where I'm putting my last one. And this is a brand new set. So usually my sets are marked already, but it's brand new, brand spanking new out of the packaging. So, all right, so I'm going to line this up. Now, guys, do you see how I'm pulling it up and I'm feeling it again? Don't hesitate to pick your stamp up and make sure that you feel that sticker guide again. It's not a race, you know. Definitely just keep on, you know, pulling it back and feeling that restriction. So here we go. So then we have our moon phases. How pretty is that? So again, it's cupping. Like I said, it's a soft metal. Your aluminum's going to do the same thing. So I'm just taking my nylon head and I'm giving it a couple of nice hits. And here we are. We're nice and flat. Now, with that being said, the piece that I did that everybody wanted a tutorial on has, let me show you really quick, has the curved line through it. Does everybody see that? All right. Now, with that curved line, it's more of a, like I said, you could, this is a project that could be for a beginner, could be for more of an advanced stamper. I would hold off on putting that curve through if you're not an advanced stamper. You know, definitely use your sticker guide. with this curve, it takes a little bit of finesse. Let me try to pull this down a little bit because I'll show you what I'm talking about. So, with your curve, you're going to have to use it twice. See, because that one angle is not going to cover it. So you're going to have to gingerly hit it and then find that halfway mark, okay, into that. But for a beginner stamper, I think that this is just as beautiful. Let's see what Katie says. When I do, sometimes I get scratches on the blank from dragging the stamp down to the tape. Is there a way to get rid of those scratches afterwards? Yes, Katie, you could use a mixture of both the buffing block and the sanding block, and I will go through that a little for you guys. Now, I'm just going to pull my tripod up a little bit so I could walk you guys through it. So when you're using your sanding block, you always want to make sure that your medium is for the front of your disc. So let me pull out a disc really quick. So let me see if I could show you. So your medium is for doing a matte finish. And your matte finish, if you mat it, okay, that will get rid of your little scratches. Now, for some people like, oh, I like the matte, the matte took away the scratches, but then it doesn't really shine. It leaves a matte, flat finish. You could always come back in, guys, with the fine side of the buffing block and hit it, and then the super fine. And that matte still has a texture to it, but it shines up again. So that's always something good that you could do. So definitely use the medium side. Remember, your coarse side, guys, your coarse side is for your edges. If you have a sharp edge. You could always write on your block here, and I've done this with you guys before. You could do an arrow. The medium is for your matte, right? And your coarse is for sanding edges. So remember, medium is for matte, coarse is for sanding edges. Let's see. It does look good. It does, Kimberly. I like it without the curve, without the line also. So there is a little bit of a learning curve to putting the ink in here. What you want to do is you want to take your enamel marker and you want to run this over. Now we're going to enamel this before we use our GS Hypo on it. Okay? Now with these two holes on the bottom, so I'm going to connect these two. Now you could connect it with a jump ring. If you don't have GS Hypo, you would put a hole here, a hole in this pendant. Okay, but I am going to show you how to use a little tag with GS Hypo. It's going to have to set for about 24 hours, but you'll have a nice soldered look to it. So with this enamel, you want to make sure to cover all your impressions. Now I'm not wiping my moons off just yet because there's a lot of negative space on those stamps. I really want my enamel to dry. Okay, so I know I say to dab it and then lightly wipe. Make it ugly before you make it pretty, but we're not gonna do that with the moon face pack. All right, so I'm coloring in. I'll leave that on the side. No, Maureen, you can solder Alchemy. It's got a very low melting point, so if you take a torch, open flame to it, it's gonna ball up on you. So this is a regular dry paper towel, and do you see how it's coming off in the center a little bit? So you just want to lightly let it dry and lightly wipe it. Okay? Now, I personally like how it looks like that because I always come back in with my sanding block and I hit it a few times and it gives it that like really nice antiqued look of the center not being filled in. But if that center isn't filled in and you don't like it that way, definitely take a marker to it your enamel marker and just fill it in again. Let it dry. Gonna dab it, and you could go around it. And I like, sometimes I'll intentionally take some of the enamel out from the center and I'll play with it. Guys, play with your enamel. It's so much fun to play with your enamel. Do you see how I rubbed it off just in that spot there to make it look a little antiqued? And if you really want to get crazy with it, you could take your silver marker, your silver enamel marker, and really cover it so it gives it a really nice gunmetal look, a very washed look. Does the white buffing block get rid of scratches the same way? It really depends, Katie, on the scratch that you have. Sometimes it will, sometimes it won't. It's really hard for me to say because I'm not seeing the scratches that you have. But Katie, if you have something that you have a question about, definitely send us a private message, DM us, and Jen and I will be more than happy to get back to you and help you out with that. All right, so do you see how I kind of like that a little antiqued? And then I'll come back in. And I'll even take my tissue and I'll go and I'll try to get some of that out because I like it worn. Does everybody see that? And I'll play with it to have that, worn look. This also looks really nice when you mat the entire disc. All right, so now we're gonna come back in and I'm gonna just show you with your GS Hypo how you're gonna connect. So I think I want the top of my pendant right here. So I'm gonna come back in, punch my hole. And I kind of should have punched my hole first before I domed it, but you could do it this way too, because the alchemy is so nice and soft. Okay, so I'm gonna come back now that I have that there. I'm going to flip over my disc. I'm going to actually dab it first. So I'm gonna take my impression, make sure it's on the bottom because I want it domed that way. I'm gonna hit it a few times, put it back on my block. Okay, now I'm going to flip this over. I'm going to take a piece of metal. Now you could use any tag that you have. Just make sure that it's the same metal that you're using. So I'm using alchemy. This is alchemy as well. I'm gonna take my cutters, snip it off. I like to make sure that when I'm designing that I'm doing it fully. So even though no one's gonna see the back side of my necklace, I could see the back side of my necklace. So I'm just gonna put a little pattern on my tab. Then what I'm gonna do is I am going to take my ring bending pliers and just give it a little bit of a curve. Okay. And like I said, the alchemy is very soft, so you can pretty much bend it with your fingers as well. And you're going to take your GS Hypo and you're gonna put a nice dot here. Now you're gonna make sure you're doing this in an area where you're not gonna move it for a little bit. Okay, so you're going to, and you can prop it up the way you wanna prop it up. I like to use a pair of pliers underneath. So again, you wanna do this on a block that you're not currently working on. Okay, so I come in this way. It's gonna be a little difficult to show you. I come in this way and I put a dot of glue on either side of my metal, and then I lay it in just like that. Okay, so that when it's nice and dry, your pendant will look just like that, and you won't have, you won't see that strip in the back. And then you have a nice jump ring to put here. You could hang it on your chain, and then you're good to go. This is a great way if you're not soldering, using smaller pieces of metal to fuse two nice big statement pieces together, just like that. Okay, now if you're working in the brass or the copper, you could definitely solder if you're soldering. But this is just a very easy option, and I definitely suggest using the GS Hypo on the alchemy. The alchemy, the aluminum, the pewter, the brass, or the copper. But remember, guys, you need to let it sit and you need to let it dry. Yes, don't be, Kimberly, you have to play with the glue. It's amazing. Don't be glue shy. So remember, guys, I'm going to jazz this up like I did to this one, the sample that we did. I did this, I don't know. If you go on the inspiration gallery, there is a tutorial on how to do this one, okay, with everything hanging from it. But you could see that that connection that was made from the larger brass to the eclipse was just done with GS Hypo, okay? And I even did a larger piece on top. This is just a little bit, what we did today was a smaller version of the bigger, but I think I might use some kind of beaded chain that I might have. I have to see if I have any left, but I'll definitely put some hanging crystals there. So definitely don't be shy with the glue. Make sure that you're bending it, and you don't even, if you don't have a ring bending tool, it's so malleable, the alchemy, that you can do it around a pair of pliers. So if you take your plier, you could bend it over the plier, okay? So that's another way to do it. So, but definitely add a little something to it. You could even put your name on it if you want and mark your piece with a maker's mark. So thank you for coming and spending time with Jen and I and letting us walk through different projects with you. Can I cut the No, Barbara, you could cut them out if you'd like, but we do have listings for different crescents. We also have, let me see, we have bigger crescents, and then, so that crescent that I used today actually has another crescent outline. So guys, get really creative with these. These are great components. Great components. I know, Christine, I make it look easy, but if you practice, I'm telling you guys, if you practice, me and Jen are getting messages from you guys that since we started doing these lives, you've been watching and you've seen that your stamping's improved oh so much. So I love that. Let's see what else, who else? So Gina, can we use smaller mandala piece for earrings? Yes, you could definitely do that. These I like big things. I'm a big gal. I like big hanging pieces. I would totally have this as an earring. You could even dangle some beads in the center or just dangle a bead on each side, okay? So you could definitely use that. This one right here. So we have different celestial blanks, and they could be used in different patterns, different textures. Let's see. So I have one here that I did in Tucson. I just have, sometimes when I'm demoing, I just randomly stamp patterns on it. So guys, these mandala patterns don't have to be round. They could just be, you know, they could be on any blank that you have available. And look how pretty that looks. Thank you so much for joining Jen and I today. You guys are a highlight of our Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays, and we appreciate you. And please let us know if there's any issue you're having with a product or any kind of project that you would like to see. I believe this week, Friday, we have a special announcement. So we have a new release. that I'm super excited about. Really, really, really fun. So we're gonna play with that. Wednesday is another little surprise for you guys. So definitely remember, comment, like, and share. Go on ImpressArt.com, fill out for our newsletter if you don't, because we always have really fun things that we're telling you guys about, whether it's new product or maybe a stamping class in your area. So it's always good, or a sale. So it's always good to sign up for that newsletter. Thanks, guys.